We're discussing the book of Sefer Milhamot Moshe by Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, an introduction to the Kabbalah. Okay, and we're on in Rav Shariki's book. We're on page 22. We're in the fourth paragraph from the top. Okay, so basically the Ramchal is basically saying we're reviewing that he's trying to build up and show the only way a person can fulfill the mitzvah of V'yadata hayom v'hashavota elavecha ki Adonai hu ha'elohim b'shamayim mima'ar v'atzmi tachli enod. The only way a person can fulfill that mitzvah of yedi'ah, of knowing, is through the study of the Kabbalah, and he can't do it just by studying the pshat of the Torah, either the stories or the mitzvot themselves directly. Continue on. Shenit, afilu lo hayinu mitzuvim al zeh. Even if we weren't commanded specifically on this, haynu tzruchim lalechet achareya. We would still have to, even if it wasn't commanded to us, even if this wasn't a commandment, we'd still be required to do it. To avoid situations where bad ideas come into our head. Because he's going to say, as he says over here, and the way should be clear to a person's eyes, which means in order to be clear, a person has to be studying. Because the default is not. He continues on, Liyot nitzolim min hayetzahara, in order to be rescued from the yetzahara, umin hamevocha, and from the mevocha means complexities or the mix-up, okay? Hara'ah shelo. Because what is the job of the yetzahara? The job of the yetzahara is to mix you up. That's the job, to tell you it's not really a mitzvah, you don't have to do it now, you can do it later. Or to tell you, he's got something there. Or to tell you that, give you bad ideas. And bad ideas is worse than bad food. Bad food you can get kippur to fix you for. Bad ideas, first you have to figure out you have a bad idea. And the only way you can figure out you have a bad idea is how? You have to study. Because you can't know you have a bad idea unless you're studying the proper ideas, okay? Like we discussed, the only way a person can learn how to do a physical examination in medicine, before you listen to an abnormal lung, you have to listen to 100 normal lungs. Once you listen to 100 normal lungs, you know what a normal lung sounds like. Then you listen to one with pneumonia or congestive heart failure, and it sounds differently, and that's how you recognize it as something different, which means the first thing a person has to fill themselves up with is proper understanding of the Torah, proper understanding. Correct. Once you have that, then you're going to hear other ideas and you're going to reject them because you're going to know what it says in the Torah, and that is not correct. The Yetzer Hara very easily comes to people who don't learn because they don't know, and they get fooled into thinking something is permitted when it's asur, whether it be a halachic idea or whether it be a hashkafa, a philosophy. I don't want to say philosophy; it's a lousy word. An outlook. A worldview.
Wrong worldview.
The world. How does a person know he has the wrong worldview unless he studies the correct worldview of the Torah? And then as he learns the other worldview, he can say, this is not correct because I've learned this and this is what the truth is.
So you have to fix your mind first.
Yes. What a concept.
A mindset.
What a concept. You have to have the right mindset. Once again, if a person, the whole purpose of this class is Yirat Shamayim. If a person doesn't have proper Yirat Shamayim, he has no mitzvot. It's the foundation of everything.
Wow, Rav.
Heavy, no? Okay. And that's why how important it is to spend a lot of time on Yirat Shamayim and Emunah. And that's why the Ramchal says, a person who says, I'm not interested in studying the Kabbalah is basically saying, I'm not interested in learning about Emunah and Yediat Hashem, which is not a position any Jew would want to take.
Shouldn't they?
Should not. No. He's saying you can't learn it from the stories of the Torah. You can't learn it from the mitzvot. So how are you going to learn it? And he's saying even if it wasn't commanded in the Torah that you had to do this, you would have to do it anyway, because how else do you protect yourself from bad ideas that the Yetzer Hara is going to share with you? There's no way. So if anything, it's a magen, it's a shield, even if it wasn't commanded. Now it's commanded. Not only is it a shield, but you're fulfilling mitzvah taseh from the Torah. Okay, continuing on. What is the Yetzar? I say this is why I repeat this theme over and over again. And
We appreciate it.
and it's important because it's good for me, and repeating it over and over again because it has to stick. And there are so many things that say differently than what we're saying that the only way it sticks is it has to be repeated. That's why all the Kabbalistic books, they repeat, they build one on the other. It's like a brick, right? You lay a layer of bricks, and then the next layer of bricks on the other ones, right? You're building on what was before. You don't just stop and then go to the next one. No, you build and repeat and then go further. That's like peeling an onion. You peel a little bit, then you peel some more, and you peel some more, right? So he says over here, the Yetzer Hara puts before our eyes. Remember, our eyes are fooling us. Okay, why? The world goes on. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west every single day without any change. This is just happenstance. It's mikre. It just happens that way because this is how it started in the beginning. And even if you want to say that God started the world and then he went away, that's an apikoros. That's Epicurus. Epicurus' philosophy was God created the world and then he stepped back and was no longer interested. And the world goes according to the schedule. That's what the Yetzer Hara keeps feeding us all the time. When we study science, when we look at the world, that is what the eyes are seeing. What did I say today? Hidden within the many is the one. And the one is hidden by the many. It's the goal of a Jew to recognize the source of all the many is the one. That's Adonai, Hu HaElohim. And we discussed that based on the word tachosu al hasef and parashat bo. Tachosu generally in Hebrew means to cover, lechasot. But over there, we learned from there that everybody has to be counted as part of the Korban Pesach, which means limnuyav, which means numbers, countings, covers up what? One. The number one is hidden in the number million. The goal is to recognize that every one of those number million is built on the number one. The number one is the source for all the other numbers. Capiche?
That's heavy.
That's heavy, no? Got to think about that. I saw that yesterday. I was like, my God, that's amazing. Amazing. Just one little unkelus over there, and it gives you a whole situation. Incredible. Okay. Kilu let dayan ve'let dayan, which means there's no judge. There's let din ve'let dayan. There's no things happen in the world. Bad things happen. People say, "Oh, it's coincidence." That is kefira. I'll say it again. Oh, something bad happened in the world. It's just a coincidence. There is no such thing as coincidence. Coincidence means no hashgacha. No hashgacha means kofer, denier. This is how the Yetzer Hara feeds us all the time with this false information. Worse, because listen, if I go to a place and the food smells good, as soon as I see the hashgacha is no good or it's not kosher, I'm not eating that, I'm leaving. A person regarding, especially if a person's trained to eat kosher food and sees something that's treif, even if it smells good, even if it tastes good, he's not interested. It's easier to reject that. It's much harder when all these ideas that come into a person all the time through the media, through their own observations. This is the Yetzer Hara feeding. And the only way to compensate for that is to study the emet, chokhmat ha'emet. This is what the Ramchal is saying. וכבר אסף שלמה המלך עליו השלום כל הדברים הסובבים את בני אדם בספר קהלת. And Shlomo HaMelech, at the end of his life, he wrote a book called Kohelet, and he already gathered all of the things that the person comes into contact with, that the Yetzer Hara feeds you all the time. Hevel havelim hakol havel. This is what Shlomo HaMelech said. Meaning what? All of the items of this world, and all the mistakes that people make in their hashkafa, in their worldview, because they go off the reservation, they go off the straight path. And that's because they don't understand the emet clearly. And because they don't study, so they don't understand the emet, they are fooled by these improper ideas or improper things that they see. According to what appears to our eyes, whoever works harder, this is the American dream. What's the American dream? Work harder and you will make more money. Is logically that makes sense, yes?
Work smarter.
Okay, or work smarter. Okay, what does that mean? And the person who has money is the one who everybody gives honor to. Nobody pays attention to a poor person, but a rich person says something stupid, everybody wants to follow what they have to say. And the richer the person, the more stupid things they can say, and everybody thinks it's words of wisdom until he dies. No, after he dies, then they can say the truth. He was such an idiot. One shouldn't do that. It's not good. But when he's alive, they're afraid because he's rich. They want to kiss his tuchus. After he goes, then the truth comes out.
True.
Yeah.
Like the presidents of this country.
Exactly. Well, he's already demented. Doesn't have to wait much longer. Okay. Anyway, continue on. So what appears to the eyes? Says this. And this is how it appears to thousands and tens of thousands. Avadim rochvim al susim. Slaves are riding on horses. Visarim holchim ka'avadim acharehem. And the masters or the ministers are going like slaves after the slaves. What is he talking about? People who have bad ideas, people who have stupid ideas, they are put on the pedestal. And the people who have the truth are the ones who are rejected. You see look at the world right now. The smartest people, arguably, I don't know how smart they are. Let's put it there. Maybe they have a higher IQ. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're intelligent. Okay, they're not wise. Okay, look what's going on. You have a genocide happening for the Palestinians. There's a genocide happening in Africa. Nobody's paying attention to the fact that the Muslims are killing Africans, black people in Africa. And that's a real genocide. No one's paying attention. If Israel wanted to cause a genocide in Gaza, there'd be 2 million people already dead. They don't have to hand leaflets and say, go someplace else. 20,000, 25,000, 80% of them are terrorists. It's ridiculous. But what? That's the sheker. That's the lie the world is built on. And the stupider the idea, the more likely people are to follow it. It's incredible. What a disappointment. I mean, not that I was ever that excited about college, these colleges over there that they blow their own steam with their DEI and nonsense like that. But they're megale, what liars they are. It's incredible. And it's happening in our own eyes here.
And people believe it.
And you know what the big problem is? Jews believe it. And now secular Jews who recognize that they're Jewish, but maybe they're going to say to themselves, why am I sending my kid to Harvard and paying $300,000 so he can be discriminated against because he's a Jew? Incredible. And they're digging their heels in. It's not like they're digging their heels in. Anyway, let's leave the Narish cat alone. Okay. So we see here the servants, the slaves are on top of the horses, and the ones who are the ministers are the ones who are walking behind the horse. It says over here, the Tofsei HaTorah shfelim v'nivzim, and the people who, even amongst Jewish people, if you're not learning Daf Yomi, you're an Amaretz. That's ridiculous. Daf Yomi is the only thing a Jew is supposed to learn. Daf Yomi? Daf Yomi? That's the only thing? Okay, Talmud is amazing. Amazing to learn Talmud, and the person loves to learn it. It's better. Certainly learning is great. But what about Yirat Shamayim? What about Ahavat Hashem? What about the Ramchal said at the beginning of the Mesilat Yesharim? What about the other 4 things? Yirat Shamayim, Tefillah, ahavat Hashem, and lehdamot, and to be like him, to learn his midot. What about that? How much time are we spending on that? So even amongst, shall we say, from Jews, there's also people that are mistaken. I don't have to say this. Ramchal said this 300 years ago in Amsterdam. He said it flat out. He was initially in Italy, then went to Amsterdam. That's where he wrote the Mitzvah Yesharim. Anyway, and by the way, if the class I gave on Mitzvah Yesharim is from the new version, not the old one, not the one that everybody knows. It's the question and answer one. And the introduction to that first 30 pages is just beautiful, where he writes why he wrote the book. Okay, continue on. The Tofsei Torah shvelim v'nivzim, and people who truly understand the meaning of the Torah consider to be shafel. They don't know anything. They're stupid. The world, it says, ve'umot ha'olam omdim mishalvatam, and the Christians have the goal to think that they're right, and the Muslims have the goal to think that they're right. They are wrong. They just don't know it yet. The Israel dichufim uschufim be'orach galut, and the Jewish people are pushed aside and they're suffering in the length of the exile. En ish sam alev, nobody pays attention, no one focuses. Vehem bidyota tachtona, that they are at the lowest level. Ve'en mitoreh l'tshuva, and they are not waking up to make teshuvah. What is the Ramchal talking about? Ve'atorah nishkecha miYisrael. What is he talking about? In Amsterdam, there were plenty of Talmidei Chachamim, but they weren't working on their midot, and they weren't studying the emunah. This is the key to the Geulah. We have to ask ourselves, why is it we have amazing yeshivot in the world? It's incredible. The amount of Torah learning going on right now is almost unprecedented in this generation and the past one. Why is Mashiach not here? What's going on? How many in Woodmere alone? There are 30 Daf Yomi classes every single day.
Where?
You could pick any time you want in Woodmere. I'm being exaggerated, maybe 20.
Oh,
Every shul has a Daf Yomi. Every shul. Again, I'm not knocking Daf Yomi. If that's what you love to learn, great. But what about everything else?
How many Emunah Shirim are there?
How many? How many are not just Emunah Shirim where people are telling stories, like when you go to Chabad things and they tell stories about Rebbes and things like that? That's not Emunah class.
So what is Emunah?
This is Emunah class.
From an Emunah book.
From a book that's coming to teach you Emunah, and Emunah is contained within the Sod. A person who's not studying Sod is not interested in learning about Emunah and Yediat Hashem. What did I say yesterday in my class? Kulanu yode'eh shemecha v'lemdei Torah chalishma. The bracha, the second bracha we say in the morning. The first thing is yode'eh shemecha. We should all be knowing your names. And once we know your names, v'lemdei Torah chalishma, then we could learn Torah l'shem shamayim. L'shma, what is l'shma? Someone disagreed with me yesterday. For the Torah's sake. No! It's not for the Torah's sake. What is the purpose of learning Torah? Its own sake?
Your sake, Hashem's
It's
sake.
ours.
The purpose of learning Torah is to connect to God.
Yeah, but we.
The purpose of doing mitzvot is to connect to God. This is our job. The best way to do that is through Torah, mitzvot, and ma'asim tovim. No question about it. And what Torah connects a Jew to God the best?
Emunah, so
Yes.
that mapik in the hay is referring to something feminine. So maybe that's what they're saying. For who's feminine? Are we?
That's
feminine?
the argument we had
Shemina?
yesterday.
Yeah.
Lishma, l'shem shelah. What Shem?
Shemina.
Right.
Okay.
For the Shekhinah, we cry about what's going on with our soldiers in the land of Israel. We cry what happens to our hostages. We cry about the embarrassment that we as Jewish people have, that there are hostages that are 180 days. The Shekhinah of the King of all kings has been in captivity for 3,500 years. Why are we not crying for that? We're worried about the captives should be freed very quickly, tomorrow, now. Why are we not crying about the captivity of the Shekhinah? That's Mechulal Bagoyim.
Shekinah was not in-
2.4 billion people can say Jesus is God. No, he's not. 1.8 billion call his name Allah. His name is not Allah. His name is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei.
The Shekinah was not in the Bet HaMikdash.
Of course it was. And then she left with us. She's in the exile with us. Why are we not crying for the Shekinah?
We on Shabbat.
Once a year. Oh, well, we do God a good favor. Once a year we cry for the Shekinah, the Koshi, with difficulty.
Okay, during Hamachazir.
Every single day a person's supposed to cry for the Shekinah. The second halakha in the Shulchan Aruch is what? Tikkun Hatzot. A person's supposed to go, we don't do this, go to your house, sit at the doorpost, put ash on your forehead, and cry for the destruction of the temple. But what are you crying about? That we don't have a temple? You're crying that the Shekinah, the presence of God, is in the exile. If we were doing that every minute of every day, maybe not at Chatzot, because it's hard for us to be up at that time, Mashiach would come. This is what's missing. This is what's missing. We don't want it enough.
We
And-
don't know.
We need to learn. That's what we're here for. The Gemara says, if I need something and you need something, what should I do? I should pray for you to get what you need.
And then you'll get what you
And then I get what I need first. I get answers by praying for you to get, I need a shidduch, okay, let's say, and you need a shidduch. I pray for you to get a shidduch. I will get a shidduch first. That's what the Gemara says. So what are we're praying that Hashem should rescue us from the exile. No, we should be praying for Hashem to rescue the Shekinah from the exile. And when we're praying for the Shekinah to be rescued from the exile, there's only one way that happens. The Jewish people have to be rescued from the exile.
We need minyan in every
But we're
place.
focusing on ourselves. We're not, prayer is about focusing on others. It's plural. Tikah b'shofar gadol leherutenu. It doesn't say leheruteni. We're not Hungarian. Avini malkeni. It's leherutenu. Okay, for them, ni is new. I'm just picking on them. It's not. But this is the prayer. We're missing the point. We're not studying enough about Hashem. We're not studying enough about how He interacts with us. We're not studying Emunah. We're not studying Yediat Hashem. And therefore, we're clueless what we should be praying for the Shekinah to return from the exile. That's what the Ramchal's talking about. That Torah nishkecha meYisrael. Why is the Torah forgotten, Chas v'shalom, from the Jewish people? Gemara says, Masechet Brachot, if 10 Jews are praying, Shekhinah imahem, and it brings a pasuk, okay? Then it says, if 3 Jews are learning Torah, Shekhinah benehem. And then it says, if 2 Jews are learning Torah, Shekhinah benehem. And then it says, if 1 Jew is learning Torah, Shekhinah is there. So, excuse me, just start with the 1. I can learn all the rest from the 1. You don't have to go through the whole thing. What is the Gemara teaching us there? There are many people who learn and don't remember what they learn. Why do we forget?
You have to learn with someone else, someone who's on the same
And
level
what if
you
you're
are.
alone? And what if you're alone?
That's what we need
The
to
Shekhinah is there, which means if a person is learning by themselves and they're learning to such a level of excitement and enthusiasm that the Shekhinah is there with them, this is why they remember.
We need to know that the Shekinah is with us.
Correct. And how is the Shekhinah there? The Shekhinah is not there when you have a martini and your legs are crossed on the beach and you're reading a book. That's not where the Shekhinah is. It's based on your excitement and your enthusiasm and learning. And whatever makes you enthusiastic, this is what you should be learning. This brings the Shekhinah that helps to remember. I'll prove it to you. What did we say the Shekhinah represents? Aleph Daled Nun Yud. What is Aleph Daled Nun Yud? Yirat Shamayim. We said He Otzaro. This is the storehouse for all the Torah that you learn. You want to take Yud Kei Vav Kei. You want to put it inside your head. There's only one way that happens. Yud Kei Vav Kei. The Torah represents Yud Kei Vav Kei, the Vav, right? It's through Adonai. It's through Aleph Daled Nun Yud. You have to have a hechal. You have to have a chamber that's open to receive it. And how? Receive it like relaxed? No, excited about it. This is how a person remembers, by increasing the Yirat Shamayim, making the storehouse, making the keli bigger, making that feminine aspect bigger that allows it to be filled up more. And then you remember, and you don't forget.
Always a killer.
How do you connect the feminine aspect to Yud Kip?
Aleph Dalet Nun Yud.
And that is Elohim, right?
That is no
No,
Aleph Dalet
Adonai.
Nun Yud.
It's a separate.
And the Dalet Nun, we could talk about this maybe one day when we do Sharei Ara. It's in one of my classes, by the way. The Dalet Nun is 54. There are 54 tserufim of Yud Kei Vav Kei, according to the Pardes Rimonim.
Okay, permutations of
Permutation of Yud Kei Vav Kei, sometimes Yud Yud, sometimes Hey Hey, sometimes Vav Vav. There are 54, which means contained within Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. The Aleph in the beginning and the Yud at the end. Both of those are names of letters of Hashem's name. Yes, Aleph and Yud.
Both.
In the middle is Dalet, Nun, 54. 54 is how many Tserufim there are of Yud Kei Vav Kei. So contained within the Heichal is Yud Kei Vav Kei.
where do you get feminine from Adomai?
Aleph, Dalet, Nun is feminine.
Yud Kei Vav Kei masculine.
Adon,
No feminine.
Hakol. What is Hakol?
Everything.
Masculine or feminine?
Feminine.
Feminine, thank you.
How was that?
Kala, Kol, all, feminine.
You said that about 2 months ago.
You got to study Sharei Ora. Otherwise, you're walking blind.
clean,
You're
facile.
walking blind.
feminine.
There's a
That's
lot
the
more
key.
words that are Adama is feminine. Bait is
That
feminine.
holds. It holds shefa. The bite holds people. Holds bracha.
And so does Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. It holds all the bracha. All the
Okay,
brachas
'cause it
contained.
holds- 'cause it
Where do we
has
see? Look at the
Hakol,
word.
Hakol.
Daled Nun. Yud Kei Vav Kei.
54.
54. Contained within Aleph Dalet Nun Yud is Yud Kei Vav Kei, the 54 Tserufim.
Within Yud Aleph, it's Dan. Dan is Hakol. Within Yud Aleph, the Seraphim
We get Yud Aleph.
from Aleph and Yud.
Have Aleph and Yud, and then the middle is Daled
Daled
Nun.
Which is
Daled
54.
Nun is 54. There are
Contains all
54
the seraphim
Seraphim of Yud Kei Vav Kei. And by the way,
Continue.
just want to make a
Those-
comment. Remember I told you the name of 12 and you said it's 42?
42 letters of
And 12 words.
yes.
The
So
12
that's
But you-
referred to as the name of 42 letters
Letters. That's what I said.
or the name of 12
12
words.
Yes.
Well,
I
the
We're
was-
both-
words of the 12
we're
I
both
was-
right.
I was collaborating that
Excellent.
42 words.
Excellent.
Letters.
Excellent. That's why it says the 12 is Sefer Yetzirah, because the 12 words. Because Ana Bekoach Gedulat Aleph Bet Gimel is the first word. Yes.
No, I'm just saying that the 12 months, 12 tribes of the 12 seraphim, that's what I know. And then the 42.
No, it's something else. We were talking about that was a sidebar conversation. Sorry about that, Aviv. We had a discussion about Ana
But
Bekoach.
42 plus 12 is 54.
Okay.
Oh, you
Drosh v'kabel sachar. Okay, let's continue on. So what's the Ramchal talking about here? You know the Ramchal in Italy had a yeshiva where people learned not Daf Yomi and not Mishnayot and not. He studied Zohar. He had 10 students, or a number of students. They studied Zohar 24/7. The yeshiva was open 24/7. There was always somebody studying Zohar. And what was the purpose? To bring the Shekhinah home. That's it. That was his yeshiva. He made a yeshiva for what? To bring the Shekhinah back to her master. That's what we're missing. That's what we're missing. We're spending a lot of time focusing on the noise. And the noise is sometimes very painful. But we're not focusing on the goal. We're losing track of the goal. Just like if I say to someone, the goal of Torah, mitzvot, and maasim tovim, we said is to connect to God, right? That is the ultimate goal. Torah is a means to connect to God. It's not a means to itself. It's a means to connect to God through doing mitzvot, derech eretz, and through learning sod. That's what the Torah is there as a means to connect to Hashem. And why do we connect to Hashem? Because he asked for it. Because it gives him pleasure. Do we understand why? Absolutely not. I can't figure out why God cares and gets any pleasure whatsoever from me doing mitzvot. But my emunah tells me that's the truth. La'asot nahat ruach liyotzri. What does it mean, l'shem shamayim? What does this mean when we do something lishma? La'asot nachat ruach liyotzreinu.
Can you give something to something that's infinite?
You can give something to something that's infinite. You can give a rich person, you can't give him charity because he doesn't need it. But there's a lot of things you give a rich person that's not charity. And Hashem sets up the world in a way that even though he has everything, in this world he's hidden. It is our job to reveal him. He depends on us. He could do it by himself, and he will do it by himself. He chooses not to do it by himself. He's waiting for the Jewish people for 3,500 years to do it so that he can then finish it. That's called avodah. He put Adam in the Garden of Eden. It says, Lo avdal l'shomra. Why do you have to do that? Why can't he just give in Adam Harishon, said, you know what, here's Shabbat, Olam Haba, that's it. Why did he give him a couple of hours, Le'ovdal L'Shomra? So he could be the master of it. Just like God is the master of what he does, he wants us to not receive things for free. He wants it to be earned, which means he has to put it in a situation where he is hidden, where there are constant things bombarding us all the time to tell us the many is what's important. The many. The Jew has to always say, Adonai hu ha-Elohim. The one. That is it. There is nothing else. The en mitachat en od. There is not bashamayim mimal v'al haaretz mitachat en od. What does en od mean? There is nothing else. There's no other reality. Only God. And we're constantly bombarded by things that are telling us that other things are true reality. The sun is true reality, chas v'shalom. No.
The sceneries we make in our minds.
The sun is a servant. We're servants, servants of the master. The master tells us what to do, and that's how it works. That's the job of a Jew, to reveal the truth, to reveal the one to the world. And not the Christian one, not the Muslim one either. And first and foremost, to reveal it to our brothers and sisters that are Jewish that don't see it. Let's continue on. Emet, shal kol zeh ne'emar. From everything we've just said before, everything is summarized. V'tzadik be'emunato yichyeh. What does that mean? The righteous person lives by his faith, or for a righteous person, he's alive because of his faith, which means it's the emunah that gives life.
A righteous person.
Emunah gives life. V'tzadik be'emunato yichyeh. The righteous person lives within emunah, or the righteous person's life is because of his emunato. What's the first thing you say wake up in the morning? Modeh ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechezarta bi nishmati behemla rabba emunatecha. That's step
Even
one.
the Benunim Lekos are in that boat.
Yes. See, the wonderful thing about this is, again, if it has to be taught properly, but the way Ramchal, you don't have to be tremendously knowledgeable in the entire Shas to understand what he's talking about. You have to have a heart. And that's more important.
Your heart is more important than anything else in Judaism.
Everything. The heart is everything. Rachaman Ali Baba, the Gemara says. That God is looking for the heart. He's not looking for the lip service. He's not looking for the hand service. He's not looking for parrots. He's looking for the heart. Where is your heart? That's why it says better is a little bit of prayer with kavanah than a lot of prayer with no kavanah. Where are you? People take prayer for granted. All of us do. It's Devarim she'omdim berumo shel olam. It's communicating with God. How could there be something more important than that? It's a communication with Hashem.
But you have to believe in that.
Of course, which means a person doesn't have emunah is dead. If tzaddik lives by emunah, the rasha lives without emunah. Let's change the pasuk. The rasha Bli emunato met.
Oh, bro. It's heavy duty.
That's heavy duty, which means a person wants to be more alive. How does a person more alive? By increasing emunah, yirat shamayim. This is what brings life. Ach, im timtza chokhmah achat shetevaer kol ela. And if you find a certain discipline, a certain wisdom that explains this, tzaddik be'emunato yichyeh. If you find this, bibiur maspik, with a straightforward explanation, mivarer hakol al nachon, explains everything as correct, properly. Umaresh calls them miyat Hashem l'tovah, and it shows that everything that happens in the world is happening l'tovah, from Hashem because of good, even things we don't understand. Umare echukach, and explains how this works. Bilimud barur mitukan, with a way of learning that is clear and correct. Ha'me'at yeh tolta, is what else do you need? What else should a person be studying? Halon nirdof achareh bechol minei redifut. We should be running after this type of wisdom with all types of running. We shouldn't be delaying. We should be chasing after this at every opportunity. Ushlishit, Ramchal says. And number 3, ha'avodah asher anachnu avdim lakadosh baruch hu, the service that we do to God, emet, true. Shekvar nireh shelo levakesh ta'am al mitzvot. We know we're not supposed to ask reasons for the mitzvot. Aval, la'asotam kema'amaram be'inayim setumot. But to do them, but we're supposed to do them with eyes closed. The mitzvot we do, regardless of what the reason is, with our eyes closed.
Because we don't know what they value.
Ach tir'eh, but you should see. She'i efshar le'sichlei anashim la'asot dikdukehen shel mitzvot. But it's very difficult, or impossible, he says, for people who are intelligent to do details of the mitzvot. Shenirim kemo dvarim she'enam chashuvim kol kach, when it appears that there are things that are trivial. Ukvar amru Razal, rabbis already said, dvarim she'omdim berumo shel olam ubnei ha'adam mizalzelim bahem. There are things that stand in the heights of the heavens, and people are mizalzel. People are not treating them properly. Ukvar lo pakru haminim. Isn't it enough that the minim, the deniers, have already rebelled? Dai vehotar al dver chazal, that they already rebelled against the words of the rabbis. Im nega goy beyayin and im naga goy beyayin nasestam yenam. Is it possible that just because a Gentile touched wine, it becomes not kosher? Yes.
It is possible.
Ha'ochel shalosh seudot b'Shabbat nitzol midinei geinam. A person who eats 3 meals on Shabbat is saved from the punishment of hell. That's what our rabbis teach us, and the minim are making fun of this. They are Omer Tehillah David b'chol yom muftach. What we said earlier today, a person who says Ashrei Tehillah David 3 times, muftach lo shehu ben ha'olam haba, guaranteed to have a place in the world to come. Halolav tzarich lena'ano davka ledad the vav ketzavot ha'olam. A person has to shake through the lav in 6 generations of the 6 directions of the world, right? Up, down, east, west. Oh, sorry, it goes south, north, east, up, down, west. Okay, that's the lulav. We have a certain way to do that. Exactly like the rabbis taught us. But the Torah only says, the Torah doesn't say anything about shaking the thing. It just says to take it. So he brings many examples of the minim. They make fun of us that we do it like this. Who cares? We have to understand, when the rabbis told us we have to shake it to 4 generations, there's a reason. There's a reason. Ach, libot b'nei adam harotzim litchakem enam omdim al zeh. But unfortunately, people who want to be intelligent, want to be smart, they don't pay attention to the reasons for these items. Where are these reasons contained?
Here.
In the Kabbalah, correct. Ulam chokhmat emet mevareret kol ela advarim. The chokhmat emet clarifies all of these ideas so you understand what you're doing. Umare ha'avodah mahu, and it shows exactly what is avodat Hashem. The chol diktutea al hechan megiim, and all the details, how much those details are essential to making sure it's done properly. Vech kol hadavar hakaton kan lemata be'aretz, just like everything we see over here that looks small, looks trivial in this world. Holech u'marchiv lemala, goes up in the shamayim and goes up. Min hametzar karatiya. Anani b'merhavya. You start in the small part, and then it comes out the big part. We think we're doing things that are trivial. We don't really in the shamayim. It's magnified. The ech kol davar, said that already. Az yasim hadam elav libo. And now a person will pay attention and will focus. Ubevadai zo kol toelat ha'chokhmah zot. And that is the purpose of this chokhmah. Kidvar Hashem leYoshua, like Hashem said to Yoshua, ve'agita bo yomam v'layla ma'an tishmor la'asot kechol ha'katuv, that a person should study Torah day and night, so he should know or be excited about doing everything that is written. Okay, we'll stop here. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.
I don't know. I have to